welcome to Bank Breakers. Now, as you already know, it's Friday, meaning this is our Friday segment. The segment where I tell all of you the DFS picks of the week, where I help you create a FanDuel team, create a DraftKings team, so that you make more money on Sunday. I'm going to tell you value picks, I'm going to tell you hidden gems, I'm going to tell you dart throws. If you're a returning viewer, you already know this malarkey. So why are we going through it again? Because the new guys don't know, and we get new viewers every week, and new subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now. It's on the bottom left. Click the damn thing. Anyways, we've done enough of this bantering back and forth, and I'm kind of over it. So let's get into why we're all here. As always, we open with quarterbacks.
I'm dead sexy.
People, I'm not sure if you realize, but it's Halloween. So, if you're dressing up as a wizard or Mr. Ryan Fitzmagic, expect a little bit more candy in that pillowcase of yours. On the season, Fitzpatrick is averaging 245.3 yards through the air for 1.8 touchdowns and has at least 2 touchdowns in 6 games this season. This week, his New York Jets square off against the Raiders, whose secondary allows the most passing yards and passing attempts this season, while starting 3 of the worst graded quarterbacks according to Pro Football Focus. Finally, Fitzpatrick will have low ownership. Double, toil and trouble. Give me Fitzpatrick in another bubble. Let me see 350 and 2 touchdowns, and I don't know how to make it rhyme. I just want you to start him. My next value pick is a quarterback that looks like he hasn't lost all of his baby weight yet. Yeah. It's Matt Stafford. On the season, Stafford is averaging 268.8 yards a game for 1.7 touchdowns, and in his last 2 games has tossed it for 330.5 yards and 3 touchdowns. This week, Stafford plays Kansas City, who ranks 23rd in defending opposing quarterbacks, and on the season have surrendered 279 yards for 2.1 touchdowns a game. But what makes Stafford such a valuable play this weekend is Detroit's new offensive coordinator, Jim Bob Cutler, who has spent the last 2 seasons as the Detroit quarterback coach and the previous 4 working as the offensive assistant for Indianapolis and Denver. If you don't believe any of the stats I just told you, this is what Matt Stafford's wife looks like. That should be enough.
I am very, very sneaky, sir.
Alright, listen, I know it's Halloween, okay? But the name I'm about to tell you, I'm not saying to scare you, alright? So just brace yourself and listen to me. My hidden gem this week is Jay Cutler. No, stop, breathe, calm down. In the full games Cutler started and finished this year, he is averaging 277.8 yards through the air for 1.5 touchdowns. This week he plays the Minnesota Vikings, who in their last 5 games have been torched for 269.2 yards and 1.6 touchdowns. This is also a division rivalry, and in the last 2 games against Minnesota, Cutler has let it fly for 331 yards and 2 touchdowns on average. Breathe. It's not that scary. It's a Week 8 rivalry game. This is where Cutler performs. Wild card, bitches! I'm not sure if I should open this joke with something about crab legs or something about blanking her right in the blank. Regardless, my dart throw this week is Jameis Winston. On the season, Winston is throwing it on average for 245.2 yards a game and 1.5 touchdowns. This week, Jameis plays division leader, the Atlanta Falcons, whose defense surrenders 280 yards through the air for 1.5 touchdowns a game, and have allowed 290 plus in 4 of their 7 games this season. Atlanta is 4th in the league in scoring and favored by 7 points, meaning Jameis should be chucking the pigskin all game long. If we gonna do it then, we gonna do it big then. Quarterbacks are over, let's move to running backs. Let's move. As always, we open with value picks.
I'm dead sexy.
Rumor on the street is if Justin Forsett wasn't playing football, he'd have a wildly successful career in music. But he is playing football. So who gives a shit? This week, Forsett plays the 32nd ranked run defense in the league, the San Diego Chargers, who have allowed a 100-yard rusher in 4 of their last 6 games. Forsett is a great play this week because he gets the rock, averaging a 74.7% usage rate and averages 21.7 looks a game, with that average increasing to 23.8 looks a game in his last 4 games. Justin. We need a touchdown from you. Whoa! My next value pick is the Dallas Cowboys. So as always, shoot me in the face. Darren McFadden this week plays Seattle, who contrary to many beliefs are not stellar at stopping the run, allowing 20.7 carries for 75.1 yards and 2 touchdowns a game. What also makes McFadden valuable this week is Dallas's run-heavy game plan. In 2015, Dallas runs the ball 25.7 times a game, and last week versus the Giants ran the rock 36 times. McFadden will be used heavy on Sunday as Joseph Randle is ruled out. And with Castle under center, expect Jason Garrett to look to McFadden to carry this offense. Let's go Seahawks! My final value pick is Duke Johnson. You know where Duke Johnson went to school? Miami, the U, where the ballers go, where the players play. This week Duke plays Arizona, who is a great defense but surrenders the 11th most yards in the league to running backs out of the backfield. 6.3 receptions for 48.5 yards and 2 total touchdowns. And when they play teams that utilize running backs in their passing attack, they give up 9.5 receptions for 75.3 yards and 0.5 touchdowns a game. In 2015, Duke Johnson averages 13 looks a game and 62.7 yards through the air alone. But why I really like him this week is low ownership. Hey Duke, welcome to Miami where the heat is on, where the palms in the moon and ten chant. Welcome to Miami. Amiguito a Miami. I don't know all the words.
I am very, very sneaky, sir.
My hidden gem this week is Charles Sims. Can we not do this? Can we not do this where you yell at me and I defend myself? I know what he did last week. I suggested him to you. He was on my teams too, okay? But this is a different week. It's a different Charles Sims. It's a different defense. Let me explain myself. This week, Charles Sims plays Atlanta, who have not allowed an 100-yard rusher this year, so Doug Martin will struggle. But Atlanta is awful in defending running backs out of the backfield, surrendering on average 9-point run receptions for 73.4 yards. This week, Vincent Jackson is out. Tight end Austin Seferian-Jenkins is questionable, meaning Sims will be involved in the passing game. In his last 4 games, Sims is averaging 12 looks a game for 76.8 yards and 0.5 touchdowns. Is that enough information for you? Can you forgive me, please? If you play him this week and he goes off, can we start over? Can we begin again? Hi, I'm Billy. Nice to meet you. Wild card, bitches! My dart throw this week has got a name that makes him sound like a Jimmy Neutron villain. Mr. Khiry Robinson. This week, Khiry Robinson plays the New York Giants, who happen to be the 24th ranked defense in the league against the run, and grade out as a -6 according to Pro Football Focus. In their last 3 games, the Giants have surrendered 23.3 attempts for 149.3 yards and a touchdown in every game. On the season, Robinson is averaging 17.5 looks a game for 69.5 yards and 4 total touchdowns. And in week 7, had 14 rushing attempts and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I know, he's playing the Giants. And if you think for a second I'm happy about suggesting him to you, you'd be dead wrong! Alright. We're done with quarterbacks, we're done with running backs. That means we're on to wide receivers. And as always, we open with value picks.
I'm dead sexy.
My first value pick this week is Stefon Diggs. I got no joke for the guy. I've fallen in love with him these last 2 weeks. I've hopped on his bandwagon. It's nice and air conditioning. They're passing out mimosas. I'm having a hell of a time. In the last 3 games Diggs has started, Pro Football Focus has graded him as the number 2 wide receiver in the league, averaging 6.3 receptions for 108 yards and a touchdown. Diggs is playing ball right now, receiving 26.2% of Bridgewater's targets while fostering back-to-back 100-yard performances. This week he plays Chicago, who have surrendered 12 touchdowns to wide receivers this year. Inside the NFL circles are saying Diggs is the next Odell Beckham Jr., and I think we all know how I feel about that guy. This kid's gonna be an animal. For my second value pick, I don't know how to introduce this guy. I don't know what to call him. I don't know if people call him Al, I don't know if people call him Sean, or if people just call him by his birth name, Alshon Jeffery. In the 2 games Al has played this year, he averages 6.5 receptions for 112 yards, and last week he caught 8 balls for 147 yards and a touchdown. This week, Sean plays Minnesota and will be shadowed by Xavier Rhodes, who is the 3rd worst quarterback according to Pro Football Focus. I feel like this guy's got a lot of nicknames, right? So you start the day off going, "Hey Al, good morning Al, how you doing?" Right? But at the end of the day, you switch it up. You go, "Sean, good night, see you later, Sean." And maybe in the middle of the day you say, "Good play, Alshon, good touchdown. I've got a golden tate, la 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 la. I've got a golden tate, la 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 la. I've got a golden tate for you now." On the season, Golden Tate is averaging 4.9 receptions for 45.4 yards and a touchdown, which are not great numbers, but he's played 6 of his 7 games against top 10 defenses when guarding the wide receiver. This week, Detroit plays Kansas City, and Tate will be covered by rookie corner Steven Nelson, who has played 24 snaps this season. But the real reason to like Tate is the new offensive coordinator, Bob Cooter, whose game plan is to open up the Detroit offense and push the ball down the field. Come on, Willy Wonka, grab yourself a golden Tate and win yourself a chocolate prize. I want to close my value picks this week the same way I did last week, with Mike, pour yourself a high cold glass of Evian water, Evans. Last week, Evans exploded with 8 receptions for 164 yards and a touchdown. He was also targeted on 41% of Winston's pass attempts. This week, Tampa Bay plays Atlanta, where Evans will be guarded by rookie corner Jalen Collins. And at 6'5", Evans will have a 4-inch difference on little Jalen, which should aid in his pending eruption. Finally, Evans does not have a high ownership rate this week at 7.4%, which is always something we like here at Bank Breakers. Vincent Jackson is out. Safarian Jenkins is questionable. Expect Jameis Winston to feed my boy Mike Evans all game long.
I am very, very sneaky, sir.
It turns out I got a thing for guys named Michael, so if I were a chick and your name was Mike and you asked me to go home with you, I think I'd say yes, because this week I like Michael Floyd. Floyd has incredible opportunity this week with John Brown most likely ruled out, making Floyd the team's #1 outside target and the #2 option overall. It's also fun to note that in his last 3 starts, Floyd has played 75% of the offensive snaps. On the season, Floyd is averaging 4.1 targets a game for 2.3 receptions, 30.4 yards, and 2 total touchdowns. And in his last 2 games, he's averaged 4 receptions for 54.5 yards and a touchdown in each game. Finally, Floyd has a low ownership this weekend at 4.8%. Here at Bank Breakers, we love low ownerships, low-cost guys that have the ability to explode. That's exactly what Michael Floyd is this week. So invest low and sell him high!
Wild card, bitches!
I just love selling you guys New York Giants. You want to know why? They're the greatest organization in sports. So this week, I'm so happy to tell you that my dart throw is Reuben Randle. In his last 5 games, Randle is averaging 4.4 catches a game for 50.2 yards and 2 total touchdowns, while averaging the 2nd most targets on the team. This week he squares up against New Orleans and will be shadowed by Brandon Browner, the worst coverage corner in the league, according to Pro Football Focus. Another great reason to start Randle is his 1.5% owning rate. Diversify your portfolio. You got to diversify your portfolio, or so help me God, I will come down there and diversify it for you. Okay, so it looks like we finished quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers, which means it's one thing and one thing only. It's time for the tight end. And as always, we open with value picks.
I'm dead sexy.
My one and only value pick for tight end is Martellus Tony Bennett. This week, Bennett plays the Minnesota Vikings, who rank 26 in defending tight ends, surrendering 5.5 receptions a game for 67.8 yards and 3 total touchdowns. And in their last 2 games, have allowed tight ends to record 7.5 receptions for 114 yards and 1 touchdown. In 2015, Bennett is averaging 5.7 receptions for 48.7 yards and 2 total touchdowns. And in his last 3 games, has 7 receptions for 58 yards and a touchdown. Fly me to the moon and go on and get yourself a score. Come on, Mr. Bennett, you dirty little tight end.
I am very, very sneaky, sir.
My hidden gem this week sounds like he should be Sherlock Holmes' assistant, Mr. Benjamin Watson. This week, Watson plays the New York Giants, who rank 30th against the tight end, giving up 6.8 receptions for 76.1 yards a game and 4 total touchdowns. In his last 3 games, Ben Watson is balling, averaging 5.6 receptions for 74 yards and 2 total touchdowns. And in Week 6 against the Atlanta Falcons, caught 10 balls for 127 yards and a touchdown. He will have low ownership this week, 3.5% to be exact. So look no farther, Mr. Holmes. I found you your hidden gem. His name? Benjamin Watson. Watson?
Wild card, bitches!
My dart throw this week is Heath Miller, a guy I can't say anything wrong about. A guy that it seems like wakes up at 5:45 every morning, puts a hot pot of coffee on for his wife who's still in bed, makes sure his 3 kids are up and ready to go for school, cuts the crust off the sandwiches, grabs his hard hat and his shovel, puts the shovel in the dirt, the hard hat on, and goes to goddamn work to do his goddamn job. This week, Miller plays the Cincinnati Bengals, who rank 20th in defending the tight end, surrendering 6.7 receptions for 62.5 yards a game. And last week, week in Buffalo allowed 17 targets for 14 receptions and 116 yards. In 2015, Heath hasn't done much, averaging 2.4 receptions for 24 yards. But he has played 96% of the snaps. And when he plays with Big Ben Roethlisberger, his averages go to 5 receptions for 49.5 yards a game and 1 total touchdown. He also will be owned by no one, which is going to help you diversify your portfolio. Alright. Quarterbacks, done. Running backs, done. Wide receivers, see ya. Tight ends, get out of here. You know what that means? Defenses, kickers. Here are the defenses I like this week. I like the St. Louis Rams versus San Francisco 49ers. I like the Seattle Seahawks at the Dallas Cowgirls. I like the Arizona Cardinals at Cleveland Browns. I like the Minnesota Vikings at the Chicago Bears. For kickers, I like Chicago's Robbie Gould. I like Denver's Brandon McManus. I like Green Bay's Mason Crosby. And I like Tampa Bay's Connor Barth. Alright, so if you listen to me and you like my value, guys, you use some of my hidden gems, you use the dart throw or two, you're going to have dinero left over to spend on the elite players, the studs, the superb guys, and there are a lot of them I like this week. Here they are. At quarterback, I like Phillip Rivers and Matt Ryan. At running back, I like Le'Veon Bell, Marshawn Lynch, Todd Gurley, and Mark Ingram. At wide receiver, I like Julio Jones, Brandon Marshall, AJ Green, and Keenan Allen. And at tight end, I like Greg Olsen and Tyler Eifert. Now the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time for my ultimate teams. The teams I'm going to play this weekend. Hitting your screen now are the 4 FanDuel DFS teams I'm going to play this week. Hitting your screen now are the DraftKings DFS teams I'm going to play this week. But as I always preach, you can't just play DFS leagues. You can't do it. You got to protect yourself. You got to protect your investment. So you got to play cash games. The payout might not be as much, but you protect yourself. Here is the FanDuel team I'm playing in cash games with a $10 entry fee where the top half win $20. This is the DraftKings team I'm going to play in cash games. Again, a $10 entry fee where the top half pay $20. But everybody, I'm hoping I'm not the only one that wins money this weekend. I'm hoping I'm able to help you out too. So once again, if you use any of the guys we've suggested, one guy or you make a 9-man team with every single player I've told you about today, you have to tweet us. You have to tweet us the lineup you submitted and the amount of money you won. And you could win Bank Breaker of the Week. You could get some extravagant, exquisite trip, a vacation for you and a loved one. Or maybe just a t-shirt. I don't know, I just pull it out of a bag. But you gotta tweet at us. Bank_breakers. Again, tweet Bank_breakers. Now that that's over with, let's sit back. Let's relax. Let's enjoy ourselves. Let's enjoy the weekend. It's a Halloween weekend. Are you dressing up? You know what the best costume you can be for Halloween? You can be yourself. I bet you haven't done that in a while. I bet you've been pretending to be somebody you're not, making everybody laugh. All the eyes.